Good morning, all my yarny friends. I'm so happy to do this video today because I ordered my ombre yarn from Premier last Tuesday and it came in on, let's see, yesterday was Monday. It came in on Saturday. So that was super quick and I was so excited about it. I ordered quite a few of them because I wanted to try them all out. I think they're beautiful. And we're going to get into the comparison between the Redheart Ombre and the Premier Ombre. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But before we do that, we need to clinkety clink clink in. So, clink in. And what that means is just say clink in and what you're drinking this morning or whatever time of day that you're watching our video. This is a live video, Coffee and Crochet with Sara podcast. It is live every Tuesday at 10:30 Central Time, unless for some unknown reason I'm sick or something. But for the most part, we do them now every Tuesday at 10:30 Central Time. And if you don't know what Central Time is, in your area, the 10:30, just Google it. It'll tell you. Google is your friend. So, clink. I also love to see where everybody's from. Now, don't give your address or anything like that, but I love to see what state or what part of the world you're watching us from. It's just kind of fun. So yes, my hair looks a little crazy again today. I had it down and I ended up putting it up because I went outside. It's already 72 degrees outside and the wind was blowing. I wanted to check on my little garden area. Now last year I had 2 of the big garden boxes. We bought 2 more, so this year I have 4. And I already in one of them planted strawberries. And then I have 2 barrels that I planted some raspberries and some blackberries in because my grandkids love berries. And I thought it'd be fun for us to do that together. So we went ahead and got started with that. All the other plantings that I've done, I have done in trays because you're really not supposed to put your cukes and your tomatoes and your zucchinis and all your lettuces and things like that out just yet. Now I do have a couple of rectangles that I have on my back patio that I have gone ahead and planted some of my greens. And that way I can just bring them in if it gets below a certain temperature. I talk with my hands and I keep trying to choke myself with my necklace. But anywho, the garden is started. Once I get it all planted and everything, I'll do a quick video like I did last year because it's super fun. And I love these garden boxes because they're about 2.5 feet tall. I don't have to get down into the ground. They're right there. When I go out and pick, I'm just picking. I'm not bending over, stooping, or crawling across the ground. And they're super easy to keep mulched and to keep the weeds out. Best thing I ever bought. And if you want to find them, they're on Amazon. I don't know what they're called. I just call them garden boxes. But anyway, if you go to my personal page, I have a picture of them there. But anyway, I love gardening. Crochet is my first love, and then gardening is my second passion because I do love flowers and gardening. My roses, I trimmed all of them and they're ready and they're already getting greenery and everything. I trimmed my crepe myrtle. I also been watching my hydrangeas. I have 3 hydrangeas. I have a magnolia tree in the front yard. I mean, I'm just super excited about gardening and I love flowers and gardening. So, and I have a few things in my playlist from in the past if you want to see what I've done. So, yes, they're called raised beds. Thank you, Kelly. I love using them. They're just amazing. And I am going to have to get a bird net because they love birds. If you don't know this, they love to come and pick those seeds off your strawberries and eat them, and they destroy your strawberries. And so you just get this netting that goes over it, and it keeps the birds from getting in, and it helps that way your strawberries can grow, and it doesn't harm the birds at all. They fly over that and they see it and they fly away because they can't get in there. I had a strawberry patch when we lived in Tulsa about 16 years ago. Let's see, it's been 12, about 14 years ago. And I had a wonderful strawberry patch, and we had it in one of those raised beds, and it was like a square, and it was like 1, 2, 3 tiers, and the strawberries would just cascade down. And I'd go out there every morning and just eat all the strawberries I could pick. I love strawberries. So anyway, it's going to be a gorgeous day today. I'm just so excited. They said it's going to be 89 to 90 degrees, so I'm going to go outside and do some more work. But anyway, let's get on with what we got going on today. Now, let me see. I do have a shout out I want to shout out to. And this person, I've been following her for years, and I didn't even know she had a YouTube channel. That's sad. And I happened to see her on Instagram talking about her YouTube channel. And her channel is called Crochet Me Lovely. And she does mostly tutorials on stitch patterns. And they're really fun. You can learn a lot of new stitch patterns. But her YouTube channel is called Crochet Me Lovely. Okay? And I followed her for years on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I didn't even realize she had a YouTube channel. And so what I like to do, the shout outs, is for people who have YouTube channels, because we as a crochet community are each other's greatest cheerleaders. I never think of us as being in competition. I think of us as being one big happy group family of all the crocheters who love yarn, okay? Because we do. All righty. Now, I am going to move my coffee cup so we can start talking about yarn. And you know, I'm a little bit clumsy, as my granddaughter always says. Now, Oma, you know you're clumsy. It's true. Alrighty, now, the first thing I want to do is just show you one of them. And this is the Premier Just Yarn Worsted Value Ombre. Okay, this one is called Salmon Ombre. One thing I love about Premier is they always leave the tail out so you don't have to go digging for it. To me, that is a plus in itself. All right, so let's just talk about this one first. All right, so I've got it upside down here. There are 612 yards. It is a medium weight number 4, 100% acrylic, which is 9.8 ounces. Okay? It is an ombre. So ask yourself this question. What does ombre actually mean? Well, in this particular instance, it's a French word. And I looked it up because I wanted to make sure that I really understood what the word ombre, when it has to do with yarn, what it means. Okay? So, this is what it says. Ombre literally means shaded in French. It is the blending of one color hue to another, usually moving tints and shades from light to dark or dark to light. And that is exactly what ombre is. Just in case you were wondering, I wanted to look it up. Okay? So, the other thing about Premier is that this particular yarn is made in Turkey. Not with Turkey. Made in the country, Turkey. Turkey makes some of the best yarns, by the way, as far as qualities. They make a lot of fibers that are made in Turkey and sent to America as well and made into yarns. And so, but this one is made in Turkey. The color is Salmon Ombre. Medium weight, number 4. Tested and approved against 350 harmful substances. Premier Yarn Ombre. Okay, that's one of them. And I'm going to show you this green one too, because I really love this one. Isn't that pretty? Okay, this one is called Fern Green, and it's gorgeous. Again, it's got the string. All right, so, but how do the ombres from Premier Yarn compare to Redheart? Because I'm going to tell you the truth about this. I'm going to be 100% honest, truthful, and sincere, as my grandmother used to say. We should always be honest, truthful, and sincere. I have always loved, ever since they came out, Redheart Ombres. Now, Redheart used to be made, it's kind of hard to explain. The fiber was made in Turkey. And then all that fiber was brought to America, and then it was spun into their yarn. And so they would say it was made in America with, let me see how they word this on this. Made in America from imported fibers, just FYI, okay? Now I'm going to click over here to my other camera just so we can get a good comparison. All right, so what I did is I bought the violet one in just yarn ombre so we could compare it to the Redheart. Then I bought this kind of green one so we could compare it, and then I bought the blue. And don't misunderstand me, I bought a bunch of other ones also. I just wanted ones that I had comparisons to. Okay, so let's start with the purple. This is the Premier one, 612 yards, 9.8 ounces, 100% acrylic. So the first thing I noticed is the Redheart one is 10 ounces, but it only has 482 yards. They're both medium weight, number 4 yards. But what that tells me is that the thickness of the Premier one is probably a little bit thinner than the Redheart one. But you can see there, they look pretty similar, right? But this one has more yards on it, but it weighs less. It's not a big deal. It's just something to keep in mind. And these purples are beautiful. You can see the Redheart one is a little bit darker. The Premier one has a little bit more color changes. And one thing I did notice is that the color changes are more often on the Premier one than the Redheart one. But I don't care. I love them both. I will tell you, if you want to see some swatches already made, the Creative Grandma on her YouTube channel, because I just love her. I think she's so sweet and amazing. Go to the Creative Grandma's YouTube channel. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, she stitched up some swatches so that you can see how the Premier yarn stitches up in a couple of different stitches. Okay? The other thing I noticed that was different is the Redheart is a little bit scratchier than the Premier. The Just yarn from Premier, in my opinion, is comparable to the regular Redheart Super Saver. And these are the same as far as being comparable. But I do find that the Premier one, just by filling it with my fingers, is softer. Although I really love the dark of the purple in this one, okay? I would use both of those. Now, let's talk about this green one. Now, the green one on this one's called Sea Glass, and this one is called Spearmint. They're similar in colors. You can see, again, this one has more color changes than this one, and it kind of really depends on what you're going to make with it. If you want the longer color changes, you might want to go with Redheart. If you want shorter color changes, you might want to go with the Premier. And the amount is the same. This has a 9.8 ounces. This has 10 ounces. 612 yards. This has 482 yards. Again, this one is probably a little thicker than this one. Let's look at the strings. And they really look pretty much the same to me. You know. And again, I find that this one is softer. One thing about Redheart Super Saver yarns is they are scratchy, but once they go through the wash, they do soften up just a little bit. And that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, so let's look at the blue one. I'm going to stack those over there. The blue one looks really similar in colors, but you're going to see darker shades in this one. Redheart has longer colors, where this has shorter ones. And so it's kind of what you want in a yarn. Okay? Now, the thing about the Super Saver, people are saying Redheart used to be made in America and now it's not. So just to clarify, the fibers of Saver Redheart were made in Turkey, and then they would send the bulk fiber to America and they would spin it in America. And now it's not made in Turkey anymore, it's made in India. And those fibers are sent to here and they spin them. So they're not actually made in America. The fibers are made other places and then they're brought to America and spun. That is my understanding. Now, I was watching Bag a Day the other day. She put a video out about this very thing. And so you can find that information also from her because she goes real in depth. From my understanding, Redheart Super Saver, the fibers are all made in India now. And then they send them here to be spun into the yarn. Now, the Premier is all made in Turkey. That's my understanding. And of course, it says right on here, made in Turkey. So, and like I said, Turkey is good quality yarn. There's a lot of different yarns that are made in Turkey. It's a good quality yarn. These two, as far as colors, look more similar than some of the other ones. This one is called Azure Ombre, and this one is called True Blue. And again, shorter color changes, longer color changes. All right. Now, let's talk price. Okay. When you buy these in Walmart, they were on rollback for $9.87, I want to say, for the Super Saver. The Just Yarn is $6.99 right now. And if you buy $75 in the United States, you get free shipping. Outside, I believe international, you have to buy $100 to get free shipping because shipping is really expensive and it's going up. Keep that in mind. And it's awful to pay shipping, you know. And so what I do, because I can write off my purchases, I try to buy once a month $75 worth of yarn. And so this came at a really perfect time for my budget. Okay. But because mine is a business, I can write it off. I also purchased some other yarns that I'm going to be using as well. So yeah, I spent more than $75. But I think Redheart's a great bargain. It really is. But in my opinion, if I'm going to have to choose between $8.97 or $9.87 for Redheart and $6.99, I'm definitely going to go with this because I like the shorter color changes. I like the softness of the yarn. And let me just be real with you, okay? And those of you who know me, you know, whether I am getting paid to say it or not, I am going to be honest with you about my feelings and thoughts about yarn, okay? Because there's been a couple of different yarn companies that I've worked with in the past, and they didn't like my honesty. And I'm going to be honest, you know, and I really do like Redheart Super Saver Ombre. And if I need it at the last minute, I can run into Walmart and get it. Okay. Now, I hope that once people discover Premier Just Yarn in Ombres, that other stores will start carrying it, like Joann's or Michael's or Walmart or Hobby Lobby or other places that carry yarn, because this really is good yarn. It's a good bargain. It's beautiful. It's soft. And it has all the information on both of them on how to wash it. But I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody. If you're going to make something and you want it to last a long time, wash it on gentle and lay it out to dry. It is that dryer that kills acrylic yarn. It really does. When I was first married, I was given some beautiful yellow placemats that were made of acrylic yarn. They were beautiful. They made them for me. Actually, my mother-in-law made them for me. And they were beautiful, and I loved them, and I used them a lot. But I had a baby, and my baby got stuff on it. My baby that's now 40 years old. She got stuff on it. Baby food. Okay, so I thought, well, I'll just toss them in the laundry with the towels. They did great in the wash machine. Stuck them in the dryer, and them things turned to crisp. And since then, I just don't wash anything made of acrylic yarn. I mean, I don't put anything made of acrylic yarn in the dryer. I just don't do it. If it needs to be washed, I hand wash it, or I wash it on gentle by itself with other acrylic items, and then I lay it on top of my dryer to dry. That's how you can get your acrylic things to last a long time. All right, so let's bottom line the comparison. Both are beautiful, but they're different. And so basically, we're comparing two different yarns because even though this is a medium weight number 4, it's a wee bit thinner, so you're getting more yards, 612 yards, and you're getting shorter striping or shorter color changes. Redheart is a 10 ounces at 482 yards. It is a medium weight for acrylic, but you have longer color changes. And if you want to see what this looks like I said, go to the Creative Grandma's YouTube page and look at some of the swatches that she made. I should say YouTube channel. And look at some of the swatches that she made, and she'll show you what that looks like. She did several different stitches also, so that you can get, you know. Well, the difference between gradient and ombre is that gradient doesn't have to be all one, like this is all one shade. It's all in purples. So this is considered an ombre because it goes from light to dark or dark to light. When you're talking about gradient, it can be any colors. It can go from green to yellow to purple as long as it gradients into the other color. That's the difference between gradient and ombre, okay? So they're all ombres because they're all within the same color range and go from light to dark or dark to light, okay? They're just, the Redheart one is a longer color change, where the Premier one is a shorter color change. And I like both of them. There's purposes for both of them. A good example of that, of what gradient is this I have right here. Because it melds from one color to another. It's not a solid color change. It melds into the next color. That's the difference between gradient and ombre. Gradient isn't just one color shade. Gradient can be any colors. All right? So anyway, I think I've given you as much information as I can. My bottom line opinion is I like them both. They have different purposes, I guess, basically. And Premier Yarn's not trying to be like Redheart. They're doing their own thing. Let me get a quick drink of coffee here. And a couple of months back, we had a conversation on one of our live videos like this. And someone asked me, will Premier Yarn make a ombre? And I said, I don't know. I sure hope they do. And then all of a sudden, they listened because it came out like 2 weeks ago. And I was so excited when I saw it. I just had to buy some. Okay. And the price of being $6.99 was just amazing. Okay. And I don't know if that's an introductory price. I know it's not a sale price. And the Just Yarn, to me, is softer. Even the regular Just Yarn, like you can see I've got some back over there. I think it's comparable to Redheart Super Saver, but to me it's a little bit softer. It's more on the lines of the Karen cake, not Karen cake, but the Karen pounder, 1-pounders, as far as the softness of it. And Karen 1-pounder does make ombre as well. And so I probably should see if I can get some of that as well and kind of check that out also. But anyway, that's my opinion. If I have to choose one or the other, I am going to choose the Premier. But remember, they're a little bit different. They're not the same. Most of the Redheart ones are brighter and have longer color changes. And the Just Yarn ones are more muted and the colors are more subtle, but the color changes more often. All right, so there really isn't a comparison because they're different and can be used for different things. Okay? So let me move all these out of the way and be looking for some patterns with some of these because I didn't just order one of each color. I love them, I have to say. Okay, the Just Yarn at the $1.25 store. Yeah, it used to be the $1, now it's a $1.25 store. Yes, it is. It's the same yarn. Let me grab, I've got a couple over here. It's the same yarn. This is from the Dollar Tree. See, it says Premier on it. It's the same yarn. It's just in small ones. It's exactly the same as this Just yarn over here. It takes 10 of these to make one of those, though. So keep that in mind. And these are a good bargain if you just need a little bit. And of course, I picked these up at the dollar quarter store. I just happen to have that sitting there. Okay, the thing about Redheart and being scratchy, I do want to tell you that it is a little bit more scratchy. But since they changed where it's made, it's not as scratchy. So when you go into your Walmart store or Joann's or wherever you go, mess with it, because they may have some of the old skeins there, but it's not made, the fiber's not made in, I want to say Turkey. It's not made in Turkey anymore. It's made in India now. And it's with a different manufacturer. And so what they do is they make the fiber and they dye it and everything. Because with acrylic yarn, you have to dye it before you spin it. Where with wool yarn, you usually spin it and then dye it. Okay? The acrylic won't take the color. Because remember, acrylic yarn is made out of crude oil, you know? And so they dye it and they make the fiber. And then they take that fiber and they send it here to Redheart, and then Redheart spins it into the skeins and balls and stuff. And the thing about Redheart also, if you wash it on gentle and put a little bit, like a teaspoon of distilled white vinegar in the rinse cycle, it'll soften it up. And don't worry, it won't smell like vinegar. The vinegar will rinse out. But don't put it in the dryer. If you can at all possible, don't put it in the dryer. Because in reality, you're putting plastic in the dryer. Because plastic's made out of crude oil also. Okay? So anyway, and again, I'm just going to tell you, this is my honest opinions. You can throw it in the dryer if you want to. You know, whatever you want to do. These are just my opinions. And again, as I said a million times, if I'm going to work really hard to make something, I want it to last a long time. I don't want it to get destroyed in the washer and dryer, right? Okay, let's talk about what we did this week. And I want to talk about this right here behind me. This is I called it the Aurora Spring Wrap. And it has, let me bring her closer. I want you to see this. This has a beaded trim. Let's see, back this way. You know what? I'm going to take it off of here. Okay, I want you to see this trim. It has a beaded trim, but if you don't like the beads, you don't have to do them. And this yarn is called Karen. I always call it cinnamon bun, but it's actually cinnamon swirl. This one is not the one I use. This one is called, where are you? Tropical Breeze. And I have plans for this one as well. And, oh, I dropped my label. Here we go. This one is the one that I used on that. It's just called Lilac and Lime, I think. Yeah. And when we were talking about gradient, a lot of times there'll be, when you have something that changes colors like this, there'll be these abrupt color changes. This stuff, it just blends right into the next color. You can see that right there. It just blends right into the next color. Okay, and this is a summer wrap shawl. I called it Aurora because it reminds me of when we were in Alaska, and it's the kind of the muted colors of the Aurora Borealis. So pretty, and I love it. And it's perfect for like you're going to wear a sundress out for and then you're going to go to dinner. You can throw that over your shoulders because you know restaurants are always cold. Perfect for an Easter dress. It's a great gift for Mother's Day. And these yarns are beautiful. I got these a few months back at Michael's. This is a medium weight number 4. It has 8 ounces. You can make this wrap with just one of these cinnamon swirls. It looks like a cinnamon bun, doesn't it? And we did that yesterday, and that pattern is out there. And remember, every pattern that I put out on YouTube, excuse me, every pattern that I put out on YouTube is my design, and every pattern has a written pattern with pictures and lots of notes. All you have to do is go underneath that video in that description box and click that link. It'll take you right to the blog where all that information is. Okay? The other thing that we did was clover. Although my grandkids say they look like frogs, but they're actually 4-leaf clover stuffies. I love them. They're so cute. They're soft and squishy. And the yarn that I used for these is the Premier Parfait. This is I made 2 of these, and this is how much is left with 1 of these. So you can make 2 and a half. And the color of this one is called Limelight. And this yarn is so cool. I'm going to come back over here because I want you to see this yarn. I used a small amount of the orange for the bow. But look at this yarn. This is the pom-pom. What it is, I'm going to show you with this one, is it's the velvet yarn, and it has a thread that goes through it with these little pom-poms with little colors on it. Isn't that beautiful? I got some white and some yellow and some orange and a teal. I didn't get a pink. I think I need to get a pink. But I have another pattern coming out on Friday that we're going to use this yarn with also. Now, if you don't have any of this particular pom-pom yarn, which would be really sad, you can use any bulky number 6 yarn to make these. They're very easy. You see his little stem. This one is a little girl because she has a bow, and this is a little boy because he's got a bow down here. But you don't have to do the bows. And if you're going to give these to kids, don't use the safety eyes. Just make a French knot or crochet a little circle and sew it on. You can always glue on eyes if you want to. I don't really care for when they use hot glue and glue on the eyes. I just don't care for the look of it, but that's just me. Okay, and they're all made with Premier Parfait Chunky Pom Pom. And this is the lime color, and this is the orange I used. But we're going to be using that orange this next week. We got something fun on Friday Fun Day that we're going to make that's real Eastery. And we're going to use some more pom-pom yarn. All right? All righty. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was our this or that video that we did last week. And I really, really appreciated so many of your answers. And I love that you're so truthful with me about this because it's really important to me. And if you don't know what the this and that videos are, they're just what I call crochet questions. Okay, like this one's, the crochet question was, do you prefer to stitch in rounds or rows? And what's the difference? Okay, and so you can go in, I do a little demo to show you about it, and then you can answer the question, an honest answer underneath the video, because there are no wrong answers. All right, and I explained to you the difference between a row and a round and stitching in the round. And I like to answer these questions because these are questions that I get all the time. I get tons of questions. Like when I use a certain technique, they'll ask me questions about that technique. And so I want you to feel confident in your crochet because you'll enjoy it better and have a lot more fun if you feel a little bit more confident in what you're crocheting instead of struggling. Okay? Let me get a drink of my coffee here. I don't want you to be frustrated. Okay? One thing to remember is if there is a question and you've asked it to me and maybe I didn't see the email or didn't see where you posted it, if you can't find your answer, if you go on YouTube and up in that search bar, ask that same question. And other people might be able to answer your question. A lot of times, just like today, when I'm done here, I won't get back on the computer until this afternoon. Probably late this afternoon, you know, because I run errands and I'm going to work out in the yard for a little while and stuff like that. And I'm just not going to get back to it. And if you need the question quickly, YouTube and Google are both your friends. Okay. I just noticed a little dog on your shelf. Yes. I'll see. It's right up there. It's a little chihuahua that looks like Rosie. It's under my sign. Let's see. Can you find it? It's right over there. But anywho, did you find it? Did you see the cardinal also? It's on this side. That's the cardinal that Angela Wagner made for me. I just love it. It's just going to sit there forever because I love it. Anyway, oh, that was the other question that I had. I've been getting a lot more questions about how to send me something, and you don't have to send me anything. You don't have to send me cards or gifts or whatever. But if you want to, if you will email me or go to the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page and send me a message. Don't send me a message on my personal page because I won't see it. Unless we are friends, I will not see your message. Okay? So, if you want to send a note or something in the mail, either go to the website, which that link is underneath this video, click that, then hit the contact tab, or you can go to the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page and send me a message, and I'll be glad to send you my shipping address, okay? I just don't put it out there because I get so much spam. I mean, I really, really do. My email, some days, I just dread checking it because I get so much nonsense. So much nonsense. And so I do try to answer the questions daily. The last thing I do before we go to bed at night is I check my email to see if there's any questions that didn't get answered. And so I do try to do that. And a lot of times I just send you a link that'll answer your question. And don't be offended if I send you a link to the Crochet for Dummies website, because it really is a good place to go to. It's not, I'm not calling you a dummy. What it is it's a place where you can go and find lots of crochet answers. And I even go there occasionally myself because sometimes I forget things, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that is, So anyway, I do try to answer all the questions. Sometimes on YouTube I don't see them. Because I do get so many comments. I do try really hard, especially on the this and that video days when I put a video out for that. I try really hard to read all the comments and comment also. Sometimes I can only get a heart on there because there's so many of them, and I'll just give you a heart so that you know that I did read it. I try really, really hard. But, the bigger that we get, the harder it's going to be for me to, see everything. But I do try. I really, really do try. Because, I get messages from Instagram. I get messages from Facebook. I get them on Twitter. I get them on LinkedIn. I get them on Google. I turned them off on the blog. So if you try to comment on the blog, you can't. I turned the messages off there because I never see them. And I found ones that were from 5 years ago that I never answered because I never see the messages on the blog. So I just turned them off. So if you ever have a question, I also get messages on Ravelry. So if you ever have a question about a pattern, contact me through the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page, or you can go to our Coffee and Crochet with Sara group and comment in the group. And we love our group. We have a great group of people in there. We all love crochet. We know we're not perfect. We love posting pictures of our things. And we have a free pattern link blast almost every day. And it's just a really great, encouraging group. So if that link is down underneath this video as well. Okay, and all of my sites are underneath this video. I just scroll down. It says see more, or there's a little arrow. Just click it, go down, and they're all there. Okay, now, Sandra, your question about the difference between popcorn and the puff stitch and the bobble, that is something that I'm going to be covering, if not this next week, not tomorrow, but the next Wednesday or the Wednesday after that, because I've been getting a lot of questions about what's the difference between a bobble, a puff, and a popcorn stitch. Okay, and I am going to be covering that in a couple of weeks, but you can go ahead and go there. You know what? If you just Google what's the difference, it'll show you exactly. Because there are tons of people, And it can be very confusing because a lot of crochet designers will call a puff stitch a bauble, and a lot of crochet designers will call a cluster a popcorn, or they'll call a puff stitch a cluster. And it's just, a lot of them, they interchange, and they're really not supposed to, you know, because there is a cluster also. And of course, a cluster stitch is just a group of stitches like a granny square. The cluster of the 3 stitches, that's just a cluster stitch with the 3 stitches in a chain 2 space. Okay, and so I am planning on covering that in a couple of weeks. Probably not this next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that, just FYI. Because I know that's been a question that I get, that's another one that I get a whole lot. All right, well, our time is up. It's time to go. Thank you so much for being with me today. I love our time together. And I'm so glad that you take out that time to spend it with me. Well, have a great, great, great day, and I hope you get sunshine like I'm going to get.